I guess let me start this. Let me start this with this question. And this isn't targeted at you. There's a story behind this. Let me start this with this question. As we stand right now on the 10th of February, 2023, so we're about 3 months into Elon buying Twitter. How do you feel about it now? Like in general, do you feel more positive than you did at the time when you were very positive? Is it starting to wane your positivity? Are you liking the changes that you're seeing? How do you feel at this point of time? If you had to score Elon Musk in the last 3 months with his work on Twitter, how is he doing? And don't be influenced by my very persuasive picture that I've got showing on the table on the screen.
I think it's way too early to give an opinion because we don't know why he's doing certain things yet, besides the fact that he's experimenting with stuff and seeing how it goes, and he's got, less people. So it's really that in that sense, it's hard to know. As far as like how it's affected me, I have not really been negatively influenced, other than like the only two things I can think of would be make Twitter Spaces better, have the ability to have thumbnails, have the ability to search a little bit better, and to search through them. That's the only real thing that they're missing. Other than that, they just released Twitter. Now you can tweet more than 160 characters. That's huge. That did not happen until literally.
A lot of people are upset about the 4,000 characters and not liking the way it's done at all.
It's whatever. It cuts off at 160 anyway. It's the same as a thread. The literal exact same thing. You just click show more if you want. If not, you move on. And you see the first 160 characters. I think, what else would you want? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like the option to do it is now there.
It's better than I understand. So it's better than
I would rather have that. The link tree. Yeah, but that's the thing, Crypto Dream. Like, there's a couple of things that have just been like, yo, we're going to do this. And then it kind of just leads nowhere. But like, that's kind of what I expected when they came in. I didn't think it was going to be smooth when they came in. I figured a lot of nonsense would happen because they got to iron out what's stupid, what's not, what's going to work. And we still, again, like, we don't know which decisions have been made that are short term versus which decisions are made because there's a long-term benefit that will come in 5 years. We just literally don't know. We also know that he's desperately trying to make it monetizable. So that is a top priority for him. He's made video a stronger thing and a bigger play. There's a whole video tab now. It's actually really fun if you scrolled on it. I think it could take, and they want to monetize and give back money to creators just for posting on their platform. If he can secure the funding and people can believe in him, they're good. And Twitter is trying to be the everything thing. They integrated payment plan or a payment, what do you call it? Like an addition to the thing. And that's really cool. I think there's a bunch of things that are like, this is what I would have expected if Elon Musk took over a social media platform. Like, that's kind of my answer. So yes, the answer is nothing has changed literally at all. It's a little bit frustrating because we're having to live through it sometimes, and there's some stupid shit that goes on, but they never last more than a day. So as long as you're not living on Twitter for real, for like 15 hours a day, actually living on Twitter, and you're actually doing stuff with your life, and you're either making content, you're connecting to people, whatever, you're probably not that mad. You're probably more mad because you see other people tweeting that they're mad. So the reality is, ask yourself that question. You say, okay, what do I really know that they have done, haven't done? What do I actually care about? I think more people, if they zoomed out and asked themselves that question, they wouldn't have a definitive answer one way or the other that they maybe thought they had before. I think that this is pretty much what we would have expected and should have expected. And I think most people are just mad because they're only complaining about today. And yesterday, they were complaining about yesterday. And the day before, they're complaining about the day before. So those people can't be helped. But for myself, this is about what I expected.
Cool. Thank you. I love it. I love the feedback. So this is about Elon Musk allegedly fires. He's got 2 engineers left. So he fired one of the 2 engineers because he went to them and he said, look, I've got 100 million followers, but the engagement is terrible. I'm only getting like 10,000 retweets or whatever. One of the engineers who got fired suggested that possibly the interest is, his popularity is down, and he ended up firing the guy. The reason that I found this story quite interesting is because of the conversation, that we specifically had about the danger of having one person in control of free speech. So if we take a zoom out and a macro view, Elon took over Twitter because he said he wanted to protect free speech. That's his whole thing, right? He doesn't need the money. He really doesn't. He doesn't need the headaches. He was worried that the Democrats, Republicans, all of them are some of them are getting more views than others, which has been proven to be true. And he wanted to protect them from censoring different views on Twitter. Now he takes over Twitter. He's the only guy, as far as everyone who's there, he can literally ban you. He can, him himself, no board to answer to because it's not a public company anymore. He can do what he wants. And we say, okay, well, if he is an amazing human being and a brilliant decision making, maybe that's not as dangerous as we think. But my whole thing is that that's what happened with Stalin, and you never want to give one person that amount of power. And then as time goes on and we start to see some of his actions, where he's unbanning this guy, but then banning someone else who was tracking his aeroplane. And now he's firing his top engineer who says, oh, sorry, that wasn't supposed to open. He's firing his top engineer who's just trying to give an opinion.
Wait, hold
It just
on.
makes you think,
This story specifically, though, is this actually real?
Do we want this guy in control of our free speech?
So I definitely have an answer to that question, but I do want to ask the legitimacy of this article. Like, is that actually why he got fired? And did he actually get fired? And who wrote this?
Okay, so this is by platformer.news. It was also on another one. I chose this one of the two. And it's got links to the tweet that he used to test the engagement. It says from insiders, so you're fired, Musk told the engineer. Platformer is withholding the engineer's name. So they say they are Platformer, this news, whatever, is saying that they have spoken directly to this engineer who was fired. That's what they're alleging. Now, I think they would lose their everything if they said this and that wasn't true. But who really knows? But this part here is what I'm referring to. I'll even make it bigger. So they were told, in quotation marks, this guy said, I was told you're fired, you're fired. Platformers withholding the engineer's name in light of the harassment Musk has directed at the former employee.
Well, this is hard.
Meaning that they know who it is.
You just asked a freshly fired engineer why they got fired. So it's hard to know, because they've only gotten his side of it, how much this is actually true and how much that is the reason he got fired.
But there's a lot of smoke. I mean, when they were following his plane, bro, and he blocked that guy who just does it for fun. He follows people's planes. He wasn't a real threat. We're seeing a guy who's making rash decisions based on his personal views instead of someone who's taking calculated decisions in a relaxed environment where he's weighing up the pros and cons, consulting with people, answerable to people. Yep. Just in general, you are seeing more of this going on. This is not the only example of it. He's also being sued for not paying rent for his main head office. That's in mainstream media, right? He's refusing to pay rent. So there's lots of weird things going on that make you say to yourself, is this the guy we want to be in control of free speech?
So I do have an answer to this, and it's in lieu of me just finishing Game of Thrones. So this is fresh in my head as far as leaders starting off with a really, really strong moral mission and it turning into something else by the end, and then you becoming evil at the end and having to be killed because you can't be stopped because you want to take over the world kind of thing, because it became something on its own. And this is something that does scare me, because in the beginning I said, well, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Elon. If anyone's going to hold true to the mission, it's Elon. And
yes,
I watched the show, which is a little bit silly to say out loud, but like, you watch this fictional show about this character who starts off morally, sound and all this stuff. She gets a couple big W's, a couple more big W's. Everyone starts listening to her. She says, oh shit, maybe I do really get this stuff. And now I want that. I'm going to take it. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to take it. And then someone says, you know what? You've become something that you were not before, and we can't have you here anymore. And with this, and they killed her. And so it gets me thinking with this idea of Elon, if he gets to a point where he gets so fucking powerful, he's got so many millions of followers, he can do anything he wants. Will it start to take up by its own and make some bad decisions? And I think the answer is yeah. I think there's no one who's, even myself or you, who is in that position who would be able to handle that kind of pressure. And especially if you're taking these wins as they go. People are feeding your ego. Things are fine. You still have money coming in. It's really, really hard to do that. And that Crypto Dream, that's a great quote right there from fucking Batman.
Yeah, I'm about to show it. Yeah.
Great quote. So
you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That's exactly what Kate said.
With Elon, I don't love, like, each story is, you don't know if each one is true. So like, whether or not these things are confirmed or not, the idea of someone rising to this much power and having this level of do whatever he wants, it's a private thing. It, in some sense, it is what it is, because it's a private company. He can do whatever he wants, but also because he's at the mercy, or everyone else at the mercy of him, because he's the helm of all these, the social media stuff. It does get me nervous, and it does remind me that, like, just because they're a hero does not mean they're fucking God or or something.
So, Kate, do me a favor on your own time. Watch that. There's a standalone video there. If you just search Twitter on my YouTube, watch how you responded 6 or whatever months ago when they were talking about buying it, and we had that whole discussion because you've changed, which is great. I've changed on a lot of stuff also. What did we start off saying where you were 100% right in the beginning of the show, and I was completely wrong. Just watch it back because there are some red flags coming up here.
Yeah.
But I see we're running out of time. I've got one question from our good friend JT. I want to touch on it, and then we're going to call it a night. So live Q&A, and the question is, good morning, Phil and Kate. Well, the answer is good morning, JT.
Good morning. Good morning, my friend.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. No, the real question is here. What do you guys think of Digi villains? We did actually speak about it. I called them demons, but I meant the villains. I think they're the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm personally quite bullish. Obviously, not financial advice. I do have to say that. But I personally bought one at 0.3 Ethereum, which is pretty much where they're at now, because I do think just the hype that's going to come from the Super Bowl ad is going to add value to their whole ecosystem. It is not going to add the $6 million. You can watch. I went on a rant last week. I'm not going on that. I still think it's absolutely stupid. The video is called Digi Daigaku wasting $6 million on a Super Bowl advert. And that's how I feel, 100%. Maybe they're wasting $5 million, like I said last week, because they might get $1 million back in just recognition and value and whatever. So I still maintain that. However, with them spending $6 million and getting $1 million value, that's going to definitely increase the floor price to some degree. So I have bought a villain with the intention of selling it closer to the time. When is that Super Bowl thing? That's soon, bro. Is that Sunday?
4 days. No, not 4 days.
Yeah.
2 days.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. It's my birthday. It's my Sunday.
Hey,
Sunday's my birthday.
Let's fucking
Sunday's
go.
my birthday, good.
Yo, someone buy Philip a Bitcoin node so he can mint a CryptoPunk on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Please, I would really appreciate that. But I'll buy the node. Someone just come and help me do it, because
someone give Philip a reliable connection. Actually, that's what he really needs.
Very funny. Everyone who joined us, thank you. A Crypto Dream is still awake. He stayed up, which is incredible. Thank you. Everybody is here. JT, so good to see everyone else who watched, either who's not here anymore or who's still here. Thank you. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. We will see you next week, same time, same place, for another amazing show. Love you all, guys. Cheers.